So let's take a look at this interesting snippet regarding Caleb Hammer paying off the debt of this individual. Let's just see the terms and what you think about it.
She has no idea. Total debt is upwards of $200,000.
I'm looking at like some private.
So if you go back there, you can see the total debt is $182,699.10. He has a 401k loan, $8,000. He has a Honda Civic lease, $22,000. Total debt is $182,000. So you can clearly see the breakdown here. And he basically seems to want to find a way how to be able to manage this debt appropriately.
$1,000.
I'm looking at like some private investors to help with like consolidation.
Consolidation's not going to help you because what someone like you does is you.
So he probably believes that having a consolidation would essentially bring down the overall terms of the interest over a period of time, rather than having it spread out with different lenders, basically with different terms. So having a consolidation. So let's just see what Caleb says.
You take the debt, you consolidate it into this debt. Now you have limits that you can spend here again, and then you spend it. Now you have double debt.
I'm not doing that.
No, but that's what everyone in you does. Now he's looking for a private investor.
So Caleb is thinking out the box. He's thinking that he can basically consolidate the debt, and then he can then go out and then find ways that he can basically look at getting more debt, basically to borrow more money and essentially have more debt. He's pushing back saying, no, that's not the case. But realistically, that could be a scope because then on the files, the financial files, you can actually see that this debt has been essentially paid off, but it's actually been consolidated, which then opens up avenues for the credit rating for him to be able to go and get more debt.
Consolidated, fine. I'll do it at 100% interest rate.
100% interest rate.
Yep.
I mean, already paying in the 20s range already.
Yep, I'll do it at 100.
Why 100?
Because why the would any private investor ever take you on?
So he's basically saying he'll do the consolidation of the debt at 100%. And the pushback is why at 100 he's already paying 20. And obviously for a private investor, it's a higher risk, right? It's not a institution, so it's going to be a higher risk unless you look at basically having some form of a lien on his assets to be able to act as a guarantor essentially.
Because they see my risk profile, never miss a payment. I've always managed my debt. I have a perfect history besides the amount of debt.
So he believes that managing his debt, having a perfect history of paying on time every month shows that he's doing well. No, you're in debt. So there's a reason why you're in debt. That's number one. Number two, just to be able to adhere to your monthly payments is important, because if you don't, then there's going to be a massive default and there's going to be consequences. So that's not going to get you out of a situation where you get a consolidation at a lower interest rate.
Consolidate your 180% debt at 18%. It can be paid over the course of 10 years. So whatever that minimum monthly payment equals.
So he's basically saying 180,000 K basically with an 18% interest per year for a period of 10 years. So if you work those numbers out, it essentially works out to be $3,243 per month to be spread over a period of 10 years. So the question is that he needs to look at is, what is he doing at the moment? One thing you need to look at if you're looking to basically have this type of structure in place, especially with a private investor, you need to be aware is what's the balance sheet? How much is his income? How much is his expenditure? What's that scope in terms of the margins, i.e. if he's working and if he loses the job, does he have any amount of small savings that to be able to go to cover it? Because one small change could have a massive impact, right? Because $3,242 per month to pay for anything is a lot of money, especially if you don't. And remember, this is the interest payments. So we need to figure out, is the interest payments actually, is this a interest and repayment, or is this just a full breakdown? So he needs to think about, okay, he has the debt. He's going to be able to pay this just standard interest, but how is he long-term going to get out of it? Because just paying a monthly payment is not going to work, right? So it's like, for example, you take out a loan for a property and you're paying $2,000 a month. You have to make sure, are you actually renting, right? Are you generating enough money from the income from the rental to be able to pay for the loan, right? The payments in terms of interest, and also the other expenses that come with it. And then also long term is how you're going to repay. Like in the US, you have a standard repayment, right? So over a period of months, years, the payment that you have in terms of the debt goes down. But in the UK, you can actually just have as an interest only, or you can have added as a repayment, right? So if it's an interest only, yes, you're paying a lesser amount, but how are you going to cover it over the cost of the mortgage term, right?
Yeah.
But I put a lien against every single asset you own.
I mean, go for it.
So he kind of basically said, okay, I'm going to hit you with, for the 180 debt consolidation at 18% interest rate. But the guy's happy. He's like, fine. But then he says, you know what, but I'm going to put a lien on any or all of the assets he owns. And his response is, fine, go for it. Well, that's actually telling me that he probably doesn't have a lot of assets. And the assets he does, he's willing to take that risk to be able for you to be able to put a lien. And number three, probably the value of those assets are most definitely less than $180,000 that he currently owns. So yeah, this is something to take a look at and be aware. So if you like this information, please like, subscribe, follow, come back to you another one.